everything that you can see there. So these are the materials. This is the polo material. Okay, this is Yori material. That's what they call it over here. It's a stretchy fabric. I want to use it for the design. And then I have the second one, which is just this very light stretchy polo material. So the Yori I have has this kind of reflection, so I decided to use that for my design. You can use satin for your design depending on what you want. So, but for the purpose of these tutorials, I'm using Yori. So right now I am starting with the tutorial, and I believe that this is the part where you really need to get. I'm using the length for this turban. The length is a scarf, not turban, sorry. I'm making a scarf, so the design is a scarf. So the complete length I'm using is about 73. So that's to tell you it is long. So it's about 73, and I'm going to share that 73 into 3 parts. The middle we have 22 or 23, and then each of the side left or right we have 20. Oh, is it 73? No, sorry, 63. So 20 on each side. At the middle I have about 23, and then the depth of the scarf is 14 inches. So quickly, after separating it, 20 to the left, 20 to the right, and at the middle I have 23. At that point where I separated, I will go down by 5 inches. 5 inches. This is just for me to get the handle, that is the length or the width for the handle. I will use 5 inches. So on both sides now I just rule 5 inches, 5 inches, and then I come to the edge as well and then mark the same 5 inches. So these 5 inches that I mark at the edge, I will connect it to the first 5 inches I marked at the other point. Remember, from this edge to the first mark of the chalk you can see there is 20 inches long. Is that okay? 20 inches long. So I have it for both the left and the right. Then at the middle I told you I'm using a depth of 14 inches. But for both sides, left and right, which will be the handle for tying the scarf, I use a depth of 5 inches. 5 inches. But for the complete scarf itself, I use a depth of 14. You can do 16. You understand? You can do 16. But I did 14, and 14 was okay. But for the purpose of joining it, you can do 15, 16. But 14 was perfect for me. So after ruling the scarf, is a scarf. This is a scarf. Somebody actually sent this and demanded for the video. So I'm just laying emphasis that it is a scarf. It is a scarf. So all you need to do is what you see me doing now. You cut it out like a scarf with your material folded into 2. After cutting it out the way you see now, I will simply take it to my machine and then I will run it. I will use my machine to sew it. I'm going to sew it through. When I sew, I'm going to leave a opening that will enable me flip it over. Is that okay? So this is just to like make the hand or the handle, look like scarf. So I just like trim off that part so that it will not just be like a rectangle in shape, you understand? But you can decide to leave your own that way. It doesn't matter, doesn't change anything. It's just for it to look like the scarf that it is, so I just have to trim that part out. So like I've said before, I'll quickly take it to my sewing machine where I'll simply sew it. I'll just sew the openings close. Then I will leave a part that will enable me to flip it over. Once again, The complete length of this material is 63 inches, and then I shared that 63 inches into 3 parts, with the middle having 23 inches and each side having 20 inches. Then for the handle, I went down, the depth is 5 inches, while the body, which is the scarf proper, is 14 inches for depth. So this is the Yori. I have cut it, and this is what I want to use to design. So I have a complete yard of Yori. So I divided that yard into 3 parts, so I shared it into 3 parts, which will give me about, by the time I shared it actually gave me about 11 inches. It was supposed to give me like 12, but it gave me 11, no problem. So I joined the whole 3 pieces that I shared now together, so that we have a very long length. So that's what I have done. And as for the scarf itself, I am done sewing it now. I am done sewing it. I'm just trying for you to see it, but because I did not use a contrasting thread, it's somehow difficult to see. Nevertheless, I'm done sewing it. All I need to do now is just to flip it over, like you see me doing now. I'm just flipping it over. I'm flipping it over. So I will turn out the right side. That's just what I'm doing, turning out the right side. So now I am done turning out this right side. You can iron it to smoothen, but I did not iron here. But if you have your iron and you are doing a work for your client, I advise that after this process, just like turn it over and iron. So this part where I flip it up now, this is what I will do to it. I'll just put it in a little and then run it through. Is that okay? So you can see there is a scarf, and the scarf is ready. So after seeing that my scarf is ready, the next thing I'm going to do is to create my design. And I've also said that I used this material, they call it Yori material. It's like a polo material, but it has this reflection. That's what they call it in the market. Is that okay? So you can see that after joining this material together, it's quite long. You can imagine the material is like by 60. The length is by 60, but I bought 1 yard. So when I shared that 1 yard into 3 and joined that 60, I should be having about 180 inches. So you can imagine how long it will be. So to style it, I'm just going to create a kind of should I call it ruffles? It can, no, okay, let me say roses. I'm going to create a kind of roses with this material now. So the width for the material I am using now is 11 inches. 11. So when I fold 11 into 2, it will give me 5.5. Do you understand? So this is just to enable you know the exact size for the rose. You understand? So that's just what I did. The length is about 180 inches, while the width is just 11 inches. So when I fold it together, you can see what I am doing now is just passing my needle through it, in and out, using loose stitches. And then moreover, you can see I did not sew the material together. That is not to say that you cannot sew your own. You can sew your own before going through this process. But for me, I don't sew. But you can sew it before going through this process if it's going to be challenging for you. Is that okay? So now the first step for the rose is done. I am done like pulling the whole materials together. Already you can see it looking like ruffles and all of that. So I'm going to create a beautiful rose from this material you can see in my hand there now. I'll create a beautiful rose. So to do that, I'll be using hot glue. I'll be using hot glue. You can use your UHU glue, but I'm always, the hot glue is usually faster for me. So I'll start by applying a bit to just a small portion of it, and then I'll use it to like close it up, fold it in. That is the beginning. So when I'm sure that it is cold, when I'm sure that it has stick together and it is cold, I'll continue applying the hot glue on the side. Right now, I am not bothered about the front. I don't want to look at whatever. What I'm concerned about is my ability to lay it almost on the same line. You understand me? So I am very sure that when I am done laying it properly, that the roses will surely come out well. So my first focus is on how I'm going to keep wrapping and wrapping it correctly. Is that okay? Wrapping it correctly. So that's my first focus. And if you look at the time I finish pulling this material together, you'll find out that I have some part of the thread still remaining, and that part of the thread remaining, I did not tie, that is, I did not lock the stitches, and then I did not cut it off. The reason I did that was to enable me stretch these ruffles at any time, like you see me doing now. I kept moving it to ensure that it is not like concentrated on one part. So I kept losing it. I kept giving it space, you understand, so that it will not like get choked in one place. So this is just how I will continue. Like I've said, my focus is on wrapping it correctly. So I'm not really looking at what I am doing now to see, oh, what's the outcome. I'm very sure that when I'm done with this process, that what I'm expecting is what I will get. Do you understand? All right, so let's just keep making our roses. So it's time for me to place these roses, these beautiful roses on the scarf. Is a scarf. I have said it. It is a scarf. It is a scarf. You can call it scarfinator if you like, but it is a scarf. So I'm going to trace the middle. I told you that the center point for this scarf measured 23. So 23 divided by 2 will give me 11.5. So that's the middle. And then at the middle I'll go in by 2 inches. That is, it will just act like a band. Band. Yes, it will act like that space you are giving now is like when you have your extra band on the turban. But since we are not making separate band for this particular scarf, we are just going to move in, shift, using maybe 2 inches, 3 inches, as the case may be. The reason I do not move in so much is because this scarf is meant to be tied in different ways. So we tie it at the front, the side, or tie it at the back. So if these roses need to be at the back, then if you go in too much with your placement, it will not be positioned very well at the back. So that's the reason I used 2 inches. By the time I'm done with the video, when I show you the pictures, you see the back positioning. So if it goes in more than 2 or 3 inches, it will not be able to really position well at the back. So I just used 2 inches. So you can use your needle and thread to tack it. I will not advise that you use hot glue to glue it down. I will not advise that. But in case of maybe something you just want to do in a hurry, you need to use, you can do that. But for a client, it's not advisable. So you are supposed to use your needle and thread and carefully tack the roses to the scarf. So you can see what's in my hands there now. It is what? Ready. So this is a scarf. So you can see I'm tying it on my dummy's head. So this is the front tying. Just for time. If not, you are supposed to make it very flat. So don't mind my tying. It's just for you to see the finishing. So this is how it will look at the front, placing it in front. This is how it will look. So you can see the roses well placed. And then when you place it at the back, this is how it will look from behind. This time the roses is resting. That's the reason I say don't move too much. Don't give too much space from the front. You understand? All right. And make sure that the fabric you use is a stretchy fabric. So this is how it looked, back, front, and side. Yeah, you can see it at the side. Beautiful.